Insidious 3, the next chapter. Or I think it's the next chapter. Whatever. I forget which one. These Insidious movies have decent titles, but they're also just like a kind of whatever. Anyways, I really enjoyed this movie. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed Insidious 2. Thought it was a very natural sequel, and I also enjoyed this one too. I think what I liked about this one is this one was more of like a how do I explain it? It's like a prequel sequel that was really interesting, and it had like a lot of things that added to the lore of this franchise. I think that's what's really interesting about this franchise. Also, a little backstory about me here. I used to watch this show on Disney Channel back in the day called Ant Man. Not Ant Man, Ant Farm. Sorry, I'm thinking Marvel. I'm tired. Okay. And it was a fun show. But the actress in this movie who plays the main girl in the movie, Stephanie Scott, she actually played a character on that show. And so when I saw her in this movie, I was like, she looks familiar. And I sure enough, she was in that show. I was like, oh, that's why she looks familiar. She's pretty cute back then. I had a crush on her. Anyways, but yeah, I totally forgot about her up until now. And I watched her in this movie, and I was just shocked by her performance. She was actually really emotional. In fact, that's one thing that's really good about this franchise is the emotions and the story elements with the like family and everything going on with them and the demons and what's going on with their children and things like that. All works in these movies and adds a lot to it. I mean, all the best kind of possession type movies have that kind of element to it. You think of like the Poltergeist, right? Uh, the Exorcist. You're very emotionally invested in these families and their dynamics and what's going on, and this does that. And I just thought it was really interesting how they made it like a prequel kind of sequel thing that tied into the other thing. And Paranormal Activity kind of did something similar to that. It really didn't work, and it was really bad. This is still good. All these movies are actually pretty good. I mean, I've never really watched the Insidious movies up until this point, but I kind of like, I don't like most horror franchises. You think there's blank one that's bad, right? So far there hasn't been one, and the only franchise that I can think of that hasn't had a bad entry yet was Scream. But even Scream has weak enough movies that kind of tear on that line. I kind of think Scream 6 in retrospect is not as strong as it could have been, and Scream 3, good movie in parts, but definitely not as strong as it probably should have been. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie. All right, thank you guys for watching.